Good morning, artists. How are you today? We are going to start by a list of supplies that you can or may want to have on hand. We have a whole bunch of different Lori says she doesn't see me this morning. Well, you just give me a second. Thank you, Quinn. So we're starting up this morning, just trying to get things. Oh, Lori sees me. That's good. Just to make sure that everybody can see me. So we are going to start with a list of supplies. So the first option is using a styrofoam meat tray or tray from the bakery that you wash really well. This is one that I've cut down into several pieces, but I have left it so that I can show you a really pain-free way to cut it up. And if you don't have any styrofoam meat trays, that's cool. We're going to show you how to use a potato to make some stamps. Now, I'm using acrylic paint for both of those, and I also have done a sample that shows you if you don't have acrylic paint, that you have one more option. So I'm just going to bring the comments up so that I can see everybody, and as I always do, I want to start and ask everybody where they're from. If they're logged in with us this morning, I love to see ages and where you're from and give you a shout out. So I will just start and I'll read comments as I go. Okay, so first thing we are going to need is some form of a little bit heavier paper. What I'm using today is out of my sketchbook. It's a mixed media sketchbook. It's not a super heavy like watercolor paper or anything, but it's like a mixed media paper. A whole lot of this, I've used this book for about 2 years, so I've used a lot of pages out of this to make different things. I bought this at Endeavors, and it says right here that it's $11.99, but I have bought it a couple years ago. But really solid investment for all kinds of different projects is the Vision Mixed Media paper. I have cut mine up into one page into 4 bookmarks, but don't worry about that right now. So I take my ruler, and actually I'm going to move the camera so that you can see my hands while I do this. Good morning, Hazel. How are you? Hazel is drawing and painting along with us from Keswick this morning. And Melissa's is in Durham Bridge. Good morning. Okay. So I see that I have 6 inches here, which is cool. That means that I can split it 3 times. So at the 2-inch mark wide, and I just take my craft scissors and open them up, and I make a little score line. You don't have to try and chew through this. This one's actually a really thick one. I think thank you to Ebony Scott. She donated the tray to me because I had to put all mine in the recycling. So you see the score line here. And then you can just hold your fingers on the back side of the line and crack it. And then you're going to turn it over the other way and the same thing. Just crack it. So don't torture yourself over trying to break these up. Okay, there's one for Sullivan. Yeah. Here you go, buddy. And I'll make another one. I'll line it up on my mat. I do realize that not everybody has one of these mats. I just have one, an old one sitting down on the table because my table is made of tile, and when you make a mess on it, it's a little hard to get up. So same process again. I just made like a little score line, and there's actually a real crack in this one. Oh, so it might crack on its own line. It may tell us where it would like to crack. So we got 1.5, 2.5 out of that. There, you guys can use that one too if you want to. Here, Sal. You take that one too? I have some over here. Okay, so for this portion of the program, this is what I ended up with. I make a lot of kombucha, so I decided to make a kombucha bottle bookmark. So, this is my stamp that I used. And these are my set of bookmarks that I made. So, on my page, I made little marks every 2 inches just to make a lineup space for when I print, and that way you haven't got them all crooked and you don't have to do a lot of corrective work later. So just a top and bottom tick mark, mums and dads and grandmas and grandpas and neighbors, whoever is supervising. If you just want to make a little tick mark there, it'll make your life easier. If you don't have a ruler with you, that's fine, and you can hand cut them out later. They'll work just as well. So I'm going to set this over here. And I have one already for myself. So I'm going to grab a pencil. Apparently I don't have a pencil. Actually, I'm going to use a pen so that you guys can see. Oh, it's okay. So Lori is usually my my gauge to tell me if I have enough light. So if I need more light, then please tell me. So I am going to draw a palette. Now, can you see the marks that I'm making? How are we doing? I'm just checking comments here to make sure I haven't missed anything. I have started, Jamie. Hopefully you're able to get on. So I'm going to make some squigglies as my paint. Also, if you're afraid to go right down with your with your pen or pencil to make the mark, because you're making a groove, and you want to make a groove that you can see and feel. You feel the bump, but don't press hard enough that you tear. This one's fairly thick, but if you have a thin one, try not to tear all the way through, because it can make things harder for you later. So I'm going to make some paint here, and then I'm going to go into where I have paint. This is my paint. I'm going to just fill those in, which actually will leave them out of the equation. So if you color it in, or whatever you make a mark on is actually going to be left out of your design. And maybe we'll make like a splash here. So alongside of this, I think I will start and draw a paintbrush. Thank you very much, Mary. Mary says hi to Sully and Quinn. Hi. They're very enthusiastic over in the background. Actually, you can see them way over here. They're over here. We actually had to unplug the phone this morning because it was ringing so much, and I was afraid that it would ring while we were filming. There is a light strip. Maybe we can move. I have a plant in front of me, Lori. Maybe I can move the plant and kill the strip. Well, that was, hey, how about that? How about that? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to continue with my paintbrush. And my paintbrush handle is going to be wooden, so I'm going to make some wood grain here. Good morning, Layla. How are you? Layla is an expert in this technique. Layla helped me test this last summer. I tested it on kids of all ages, and I believe that she was the youngest that did it. She was 6 at the time, I think. Maybe 7. 6, 7. You can tell me, Heejin. And Layla right now is in Markham, Ontario doing this lesson with us. Okay, so now other than my paint marks, maybe my paint brush gets a little bit more that goes around it. You can go back around it and make your line a little thicker. That's called contouring. And it just makes it a little bit more of a solid line for when you go to print. And I'm going to make some curvy lines. Just to decorate my bookmark. And just a reminder, I love, love, love seeing your projects. So please post your projects to the UNB Art Center. We really, really love seeing the outcome and how everybody's made out. I love seeing all the different projects that come out of one set of materials and one subject. Your heroes were awesome. And I'm still getting reports of people that are doing the lessons and building new heroes all the time. And maybe a splotch of paint here. So there is my first design. Now, with one tray, you'll see that we can make many. I only had one tray, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that we made. So you don't need to have a ton of those trays. If you can get your hands on one, it works great. You can pull it out of the recycle bin and give it a new life for today. Make it an art material. I'm going to just slide over to our other material in case that you don't have a piece of styrofoam so that you can still follow along. So this is our second material. Taters. You're a New Brunswicker, you definitely have potatoes. If not, well, maybe you know somebody that has potatoes. So what I've done is cut about a 1/2 inch thick cut of potato. And then I have taken, I'm going to take a piece of this paper actually. And we'll leave this one in the foreground. I drew a banana. This time, how about we do a star? Simple star. And I'm going to You took the words right out of my mouth, Patricia. You were just ahead of me by about 2 minutes. So this is my big fancy tool. This is the big fancy tool right here. This is a paper clip, and all I've done is straighten it out a little bit. So I've put my drawing over top, and I'm just going to poke in through the paper, and of course I've used the really tough paper, and make some lines for myself to be a little pattern. A tack would work as well. And I've bent this too far. And even honestly, your pen will work quite nicely. And maybe that would allow you guys to see a little bit better what I'm doing. I'm trying to get the camera so that you can see what's going on. How are you guys doing over there? Does anybody have any questions? Is there something that you would like to try and use as an alternative? We'll see if we can work that out for you. So, lift it off. Get rid of that baby. And then we grab our paper clip and you stick it in and pull back. And then you have supper tonight. And pull away. So on these straight edges you can stick in here and pull along the side. This is a safer way for littles to do this without having to use a knife. And you just peel your edges away. And grow your compost. This doesn't have to be super detailed. This can just be a star, it can be a circle. You can, even if you don't put a design on there, you can just let the kids use the paper clip to make a squiggle in it, and that'll leave a design. Now, if you don't want to cut the paper into bookmarks, you can also leave a big sheet out and they can make their own placemat to sit at the table. Did you run out of potato, Sully?
It's okay. Yeah, I'm running out of potato.
You ran out of potato?
Yeah, because I messed up.
That's okay.
I made a giant line through
Quinn can cut you another potato.
I cut you a potato.
You can compost that one. Sullivan's plans derailed. That's cool. That happens sometimes. Quinn's gonna cut him a slice of potato.
Already pre-cut.
There is one.
There
You
was
did?
one.
Oh.
There was one that was pre-cut.
Okay, so I'm gonna just clean off the outside edges here so that it pulls away. It doesn't get in the way of our brilliant printmaking. How's everybody doing? Is this manageable? Now, we are going to use acrylic paint today, but I am going to show you an alternative as well if you don't have that. We'll start with the acrylic paint and then I will show you an alternative. Just let me get rid of the scraps on the table. Okay, so now we are ready to print. So I have my sheet here and I'm going to measure. I'm going to put my little tick marks. And apparently, when you use your pen with potato, it might stop your pen from working for a little while. You may have a hard time. Maybe you're going to have to use a pencil now. things we learn. Little tick mark to measure things out. Now, I don't think I have space to put the very last one, so that's okay. What I'm going to do is just mark X's here so that I don't try and print that and then I get disappointed. But I also have noticed that this piece of foam is a little bit longer than my page. So I'm going to make a mark, same as I did a minute ago. I'm going to make a mark with my ruler. And I'm going to just trace with the pencil. And I'm just going to snap that little bit off. There. Perfect. So I have, I'm going to move you up a little bit for a second. Hello. We'll set the stuff to the side. And I have 2 different colors of paint. You can choose whatever color you like. The other thing that I forgot to mention, if you have been following our lessons all the way through, you may still have some scraps like this with the bubble painting. And these are perfectly good scraps to use to print on top of and then use as your bookmarks. So these can totally be used. So I am going to open up my paint. And you don't need a lot of paint to put out. This is actually a low mess situation, and obviously these are my paint overalls because I paint on them all the time. And this one's a little easier on me. It's a squeeze tube, and we're going to put a little bit there. So we'll set this to one side and bring you guys back down. Back around. Okay. So if you want, you can just print and you just go across like this. You do not need a great big bunch of paint. Now, traditionally you would use a brayer, which is like a foam, a rubber roller, which I have, but I didn't think there'd be a whole lot of people that would have that in their house, so I skipped that step today. So we're just going to paint across your bookmark. What'd you do, bud?
Oh, no, nothing. Just my hands getting a little tired.
Your hand's getting tired. Okay, well, so there's something to look for. That anybody under 10 could have chronic fatigue syndrome in about 3 minutes, and you may have to finish this project. So I have my piece covered, and I'm going to just line it up in my marks, my little crop marks, and give it a good press with all your fingers. And here's your tip. When see, I have some on my fingers right now. When you go to peel it up, hold your paper and take the widest side, pick it up that way. Ta-da! Oh, well, and that's why we make multiple prints. See, the edge of this is a little bit curved. It looks like I have to press harder. So I'm going to try some different paint colors in mine, and you can do that. You can mix your paint colors. I also think I might need a larger paintbrush to do this.
Am I allowed to show them my potato?
Allowed to show them your potato? Yeah, sure. Let's see what you made, man. This is Sully's potato. Before he scrapes it out. Oh, and Quinn has a tiny there. Okay, so the next time, I'm going to make note that I have a very curvy edge on the one part of my stamp. So I'm going to press down really hard here. There. That's print 2. Now, I'm going to show you the difference with a brayer. This also, a foam roller could do this because it wouldn't get in the crevices as much if you had a little tiny foam paint roller. I'm going to roll this back and forth. And yes, I know I have 2 different colors, and you watch. There's cool stuff that happens when you do 2 different colors at one time. Now, I'm still being foiled by this recess that I have in the side. So, make a note that if you have a curve in yours, because I did not pick wisely, and choose a flat space. Keep rolling on. Hey, Huddy, how are you doing? That's, my nephew is in Ottawa this morning. And I bet his brother's not up yet. But Hudson is. And thank you for the birthday wish. So, press really hard. Especially where you have, if you have a corner, like I do. Also, do you see the back side here where the print is of the plate? Gotta beware of those too, they will make recesses. Ta-da! So we have 4 different ones. I'm gonna grab another page. I'm gonna let this sit and dry. And set this aside. And grab another page of my paper. Now, you don't have to measure to do your potato ones because you can just do whatever you want, really. So we're going to set this aside and we are going to use the paintbrush. I cut a banana before and we're going to do a turquoise banana. So take your paint right on top. And press down. Oh, you can't see. And you can use 2 different colors of paint if you would like. Make it fancy. And you can stamp all over and then cut this into strips. Banana. So now let's go over to, I think I need another color of paint. Sully, can you grab me maybe the pink there? I know that you like the pink.
Yay. Pink.
We'll go for a little bit of magenta here. And grab another paintbrush. So let's go on top of our star, which I know is a little bit, it's kind of like a reveal because you guys have probably a little bit of hard time seeing the white of the potato. Janet says they're all up just for my art class. This is a great honor. Good morning, Xander. So press this down. So this is the way we roll. We do primitive pink stars and bananas on our bookmarks. That's how that's happening. Maybe we're gonna mix a little color. Maybe we want little dots right here. That can happen too. Press. This is the part, even if really littles can't cut out, they can still stamp. And it is gloriously fun. Because it turns out different almost every time, and the paint can mix on them. We're going to go back to Banana Town.
That's potato.
No, this is a banana.
Oh.
Maybe we got a little pink on our banana this time. Pink banana. Wipe it off on the overalls. So we still have more people coming in. Where's everybody from this morning? Thank you for coming to join us. And the reason I asked where everybody's from is because right now anybody can be from anywhere in these classes. Because right now we are filming in Woodstock, New Brunswick. But funneling through the UNB Art Center Facebook page. Banana. This is graduating. We're graduating the color as it goes over. And I know that normally they tell you not to mix colors with your paintbrush, but today we're breaking little rules. We're being rebels today. Press. Now, you don't have to make quite as hard of a press with this as you do with this, because the potato is naturally a little bit slimy, and you can try to blot it out a little bit on a paper towel or a cloth, but it's naturally just going to be a little bit more slippery. What do you got, my man? Show me. I think Sully has made Finn from Adventure Time. Is that what you made?
Yeah.
Good job, bud.
Gonna accidentally cut off one of his sides, but chill.
Okay, so he's an amputee, Finn.
He's good.
Cool. So we're going to let these dry. Set these aside. And I'm going to grab...
Can I have something?
You sure can. You can take that right over there. The whole thing. We're moving on. Or I'm moving on. So, this is our first attempt. Now, printmakers always mark their prints. So, I'm just making sure that these are dry. It takes very little time for them to dry. So I made 4 prints of this, so I'm going to write 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4 of 4. So you mark which one was which. It also gives you worked best. In my case, the last one was the best print, and now I have some practice with that plate, so I can do a better job. And then you always sign your prints too. And then you can follow your little mark. And cut them apart. And there you have a one-of-a-kind bookmark to give to all your family. And how very timely, since our libraries in New Brunswick are about to reopen. My sister tells me that my nephew has just figured out how to put me up on the living room television. Cool, Hudson, well done. I don't know how to do that. So, I have another option for you for your potato printing. The next thing that I'm going to... I see we've had an interruption in the signal to Facebook this morning, but I hope that we're back live. Lori will tell me. Oh, very cool, Sal.
And they're even in the same poses, but in different places.
So Sully shows me, this is what he made. These are his thin prints.
They're in the same poses.
And they're in the same pose.
In different places.
Very cool. Very cool. Well done. You want to do one in that top corner for me? Cool. So I have a whole other bookmark. I promised origami. We're going to do origami. So I'm going to put you back up top so you can see. This is my book, and this is who holds my pages. This is a monster bookmark, and I'm going to give you a list of supplies that you need, but it's really, really simple. You can do this with a piece of printer paper, you can do this with a piece of wrapping paper, magazine page, whatever you got. I put googly eyes on mine. If you have them, get them. If you don't, that's okay. There's no party fouls here. So I'm going to take my monster out and I'm going to show you how to make it. Now, I have another one holding a recipe in this book, and it's made of a magazine page. These are really great, and they're really great for grown-ups too, because look, they don't fall out of your recipes. If you're reading, if you fall asleep in bed, they don't fall apart. So, and you can also, when you can take them off and you can put them just on the corner of your book to hold it. Works out great. So, I'm going to show you how to do that. So, I know that not everybody else has this. I just happen to have an assortment of googly eyes. But if you don't have to. We're going to draw it on. It's cool. So, Quinn, can you get me a piece of printer paper?
Yeah, I think I actually saw it.
So, get some. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is an old, this is actually a page out of Life magazine from 1962. Thankfully, Marcus Kingston at NBCCD is a old magazine hoarder, and he saves them for these great pieces of photography, and gives them out to us to draw, to practice. So I have a magazine page, I have a piece of paper, which is probably what everybody has right now. I've accidentally clicked, just one moment. Sorry about that. So with your paper, I think you're better off if I put you back down flat. There we go. So every piece of paper is usually rectangular. You're gonna do it on the floor, buddy? Lay it down flat. So you take your corner and fold it up until you meet the opposite edge corner, and that will make a perfect square. So don't fold it yet until, oh, you can't see, until you see that you've met the exact edge and you make them crispy. Then make a nice crease. Even take your thumbnail and go along it. Now, if you have some really little children in the house that can't manage folding but would like to help, markers or crayons in advance, and they can color on this to make just an abstract pattern would be really, really cool. So now I'm left with this rectangular edge, which I can just take my scissors along the edge and cut off. And we'll set that aside because that also can be a bookmark later. These also can be in any size. Even if you have the dexterity to do it and have nimble little fingers, you can make it with the corner of this. So from here, I'm going to use my center point, my peak here, as my marker. And I'll fold it over to there and then run my finger back along and crease. So we're making a diamond. We're going to do that with both sides. Same thing here. Butt it right up against each other. They are kissing. These guys are married. Make a crease. Really make a nice crease. Use your thumbnail, the back of a spoon, your paintbrush edge, whatever you got. So now I have this diamond that is open on this side like a collar of a shirt. I'm going to flip it over to the back side. And the two pieces back here, I'm going to fold all the way back so that it matches. Let's do it towards you. So that it matches the tip here. And crease really, really well. Okay? So now we're going to fold it back down and open it up. And now you have a paper airplane looking thing. So the top one, we're going to fold under. Leave it there. There's a reason for this, I promise. The bottom one, we're also going to fold in towards the center point. But don't worry, it will do it because you already made the crease. It knows where to go. Close the door. And now your collar will close. So remember how these kiss together? We're going to take them up the other way and kiss them together. Same thing. Exactly at the same, so that they make the same level as the edge here. Press, 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 and fold up. Heejin says a googly eyes are a must when I'm an artist. And my sister says, way to go on showing the world how ridiculous I am. Okay, so now you can unfold that. Bless you, Sully. And now, do you see why you folded these in? Because it kind of makes the mouth, which is what's going to hold your book page. And you're going to take those two tails and wrap them in and tuck way up to the top. wrap them in, and they will go there because you already made that crease. Tuck them right in and flatten out. And now we flip over and we get to decorate. Now, you already saw that I made googly eyes because ridiculous, but also awesome. Now, we have done all kinds of monsters. We've made teeth, which we can do. We can do that. Let's make teeth. Let's do that. We'll make a little bit of a measurement here. And actually, I'm going to fold it in half so that I only have to do this once. Work smart, not hard. So I'm going to make some monster fangs. Maybe this is the Sasquatch in your book. Just like paper dolls. Ta-da! We have a set of fangs for our monster. So I'm going to grab glue or a glue stick or even a piece of tape would be fine. And we'll just put a little bit of glue here. Just a little dot. Along the edges. And we'll set those teeth up in there. Just give it a little press and hold for a moment. Now, I'm going to show you how to draw on it. If you want to put your googly eyes on first, you can do that, but sometimes they get in your way if you do it first. It's easier to draw on it and then stick your googly eyes on. Sully's going to bring me some markers, so we're going to get fun with this. Same set of markers I had last week. So, perhaps my monster has some dark circles around his eyes. Boy or girl, I always feel like monsters need eyelashes so they're not scary. What's up, bud? How you doing?
It took me forever to do the crease.
Okay. Do you want to cut? Do you want to cut?
Yeah.
There you go. So I'm gonna draw some eyelids for my monster. And some eyelashes. They don't match. Oh. That's okay. We don't worry about that. Eyebrows and eyelashes are twins, not sisters. Or sisters, not twins. Haha. Okay, so some eyebrows. Maybe he's surprised. Whoa, what? Look how much you read. And I also feel that this dude is like hairy. So we're gonna have to draw some hairy lines. Perhaps a nose. And I haven't gotten too detailed on the nose, just a wavy line. And brackets. So here I'm going to draw some hair on my guy. I feel like maybe he's got like, he needs to go to the barber like everybody does right now. Got a little hair in his eyes. Like this. Whoops. And I'm going to get a lighter color of brown to do the fill-in work. So let's fill them in. Again, if we have any newcomers, I'd love to see where you're from. And I always, always, always want to see how you've done with your projects. So please post them later, take pictures and post. I love seeing all the different variations that come out of this. The heroes were awesome. I'm going to color that in just so you don't see any space around when I put the googly eyes on. But you can make eyeballs. You can color eyeballs if you want. Yep. Oh, it's okay. Okay. So, I got a brown monster. Now, my monster is a vegetarian. So, he has some kale stuck in his teeth. Over here, it's terrible hygiene. He hasn't been able to get to the dentist lately. And I think that maybe we need to grab a black now for those, for the eyebrows. Also, I feel like his eyebrows need to be accentuated. And maybe they're a little furrier than originally. And we'll give him a little guy liner here. Now, we're rounding out the hour. I want to mention that I have a project of my own that I've been doing as just a part of practice during isolation, and I have been asking people to send me funny selfies and close-up pictures making expressions and silly faces so that I can practice my portrait drawing. So I would love it if you went over to my page and dropped me a picture. Hey Sandra, how are you doing? And thank you for the happy Mother's Day and happy birthday. I just put a drop of glue on here. And now I have a new monster to hold my spot in my page. So that's the end of Design Works Wednesdays today. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned a lot, and I cannot wait to see what you post for your projects. I can't wait to see them next week. Now, I do have a little sneak peek for you for next week. Next week, we are going to learn about planting seeds and how to mark the seeds so that you know what they are. So I'm going to flip the camera around. Maybe I'm going to flip the camera around and show you our little garden. And we have some signage here so we know what everything is. We have some watermelon and some beets growing. And then that's just our temporary markers. We also have gone, yet again, so that we don't use any materials that maybe you might have to go out and buy if you don't need to. We have been collecting smooth rocks. So the kids and I are going to mark our garden with garden marks, and these are just with acrylic paint and rocks, and this gives you a good excuse to go for a nice long walk and pick out some smooth rocks for next week to paint with us. Hope to see you next week, and I hope you had fun. Have a great day, artists. Bye.